All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome in. As a courtesy to your fellow media members, as well as the coaches and student athletes, please silence your cell phones. Please provide your name and media affiliation each time you ask a question during the press conferences. If you're joining on Zoom, please use the raised hand function for questions. We'll address questions in the room first and get to Zoom if time allows. Recording press conferences with your cell phone or via video is prohibited. You may record audio if you would like. And so with that, we will turn it over to questions for Ty Singleton and Madison Scott from Ole Miss.
David Eckert, the Clarion Ledger. For both of y'all, when you kind of visualize what needs to happen tomorrow to get a good outcome, what pops into your head?
Just being who we are, dictate and disrupt, playing our defense, being extremely focused. I think that's very important for us because it got us this far. So definitely dictate and disrupt.
Yeah, what she said. Just I think being connected for 40 minutes, playing the way Ole Miss women's basketball plays, I think if we're able to do that, we'll be successful.
And I guess, again, for both of you, just how's the team feel right now? The last, obviously, got a little bit of a rest. What's
We're excited.
It look like?
Yeah, we're excited. We're
Very
ready to compete
excited.
together. Excited to be here. Grateful for the opportunity. So we're ready to seize it and just give it everything that we have.
Kurt Rowell with the Associated Press. Madison, the SEC season, you probably know each other so well, your opponents. Can you talk about the challenge of having to be quick learners in the NCAA tournament and what it takes to accomplish that?
It's definitely a challenge, because you're facing a new opponent that you're not, as familiar with as you are with the opponents in conference. But I think the biggest thing that we've been being intentional about, my team particularly, is just being coachable. Our coaches give us a great game plan. We're watching film, we're asking questions, and our focus is at an all-time high, because we want to win. We're not ready to go home, So I think just being coachable, that's been our biggest thing as players, and just accepting everything that comes our way and being able to react quickly and trust the process, trust the game plan, and yeah. Mm-hmm.
Again, for both of you, I'm just curious. I mean, obviously, there's a very distinct identity. You mentioned it there, dictate and disrupt. How do you feel like that plays in March? Do you feel like that works this time of year?
I feel like it works all times of the year. I feel like that's our identity. That's who we are. So it doesn't matter if it's March. It doesn't matter where we are. We take it with us. We packed our defense with us, and we're ready to display that because we know that that's going to help us, play and win. And it just is who we are. When that's who you are, if you're not staying true to who you are, then, the result isn't always, going to be great. So we want the result to be great. We want to win. We want to continue to play at a high level. So we packed our defense with us. We're ready to go, and we're ready to give it everything that we have.
Hey, Tamika Catchings, ESPN. So question is, you guys were here last year as far as making it to the tournament. What did you learn from last year that I'm sure Coach had talked about in your preparation for this year?
We learned what it takes to continue to play. We got a taste of that with making it to the Sweet 16 last year. There was many moments last year where there was highs and lows, but it was staying steady through the highs and lows. I think that was the biggest takeaway from last year. Like you mentioned, sir, we're playing against different competition, teams that we aren't necessarily familiar with. But so throughout the game, there's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be things that happens that we have to make adjustments and be ready. And I think it's just staying steady, through the highs and through the lows, staying steady and just being ready to do whatever it takes to win. So that was the biggest thing from last year. And then we learned how important also it is to just stay connected, throughout all of that, because we can't, it's not 1 against 5, it's 5 against 5. Of course we need the 15. We need everybody on our team to do their job and be ready to go. So I think just staying connected for 40 minutes, staying true to who we are, and just trusting in God, trusting in our coaches, good things will happen.
And one more question. For you in particular, like just watching you over the last couple of years has been amazing. What do you feel like you really worked on from last season to this season to put you guys in this position?
Wow. I think the biggest adjustment, the thing that I worked on the most was how I present myself to my team, if that makes sense. Being more of a leader with my actions, showing, the way that we do things at Ole Miss. I've taken a lot of pride in doing that, and sometimes I fall short. But I want my teammates to know that, I've been here. I've gone through a lot of ups and downs, but I've been here, and that I'm ready to attack everything with them. I want to be a leader for my teammates, So that's been the biggest thing, just trusting myself to do that, and then having great teammates that trust me, make it 10 times better. So, yes, ma'am.
Sam Gorey, ESPN. You're part of March Madness, so I'm just curious as to how many other games you guys watch, even though you're locked in on what you do, and if you sort of get fired up even more just watching everybody else play when you're not out on the floor.
I feel like it's March, so, great basketball. It's time for great basketball. I just feel like as long as we just stay focused on our opponent and not worry about what's next after like that, we just stay focused on that one particular game instead of what's ahead after that, just one game at a time. But, of course, we watch other teams because it's March. Who don't want to watch basketball? It's great basketball time, but definitely staying focused on who we have in front of us at that time.
Madison, back to, Kurt Rollo, AP. Back to leading with a purpose. Was there a defining moment or turning point this season where you kind of had to help the team weather the storm, and how were you able to do that and get yourselves here?
Well, there were many moments, I think, but one that stands out in my head, I'll never forget it, is we lost 2 in a row this year. We lost to South Carolina, and then we turned around and lost to Texas A&M. That was a big moment because here we are in the thick of our season where teams are giving it all that they have. We're playing in one of the best conferences in the world, the SEC, and teams are trying to finish out strong. The placement, everything was so close. So dropping 2 games like that, it put us in a really bad position. So there we had to make a decision whether we were going to continue to lose, continue to be so far into ourselves that we didn't do what the team needed, each and every one of us to do to win. Or were we going to rise to the occasion? Were we going to be the best teammates we could be? Were we going to give it up every day in practice so that way the result in the game will result in W's? We really had to make a decision. And in that moment, I had to make a decision. I had to make a decision to really be intentional about my talk, about how I practiced. Just about being a great teammate, just about letting my teammates know we've been in this position. Last year we lost 2 in a row as well, but letting them know that we can weather the storm as long as we do it together. So that was a big place in the season, and I'm glad that we were able to overcome it, because maybe we wouldn't be here, so God is good.
We're going to turn it over to a Zoom question here. So we're going to have Gabriella Lewis step up to the mic here on Zoom.
Hi, Gabriella Lewis, the next. Both of y'all are veteran leaders, and after the LSU game, Coach Yo talked about kind of the inexperience, with the ball and at the point guard position. How are y'all focusing on taking care of the ball at this game and then also guiding younger players like Sakaya?
Well, first, we know it's a team effort. We know that we don't have, our point guard, Kirsten, due to injury. We've had all season long to kind of figure out ways to adjust, and we found it that it takes collective effort. Yes, we have a great point guard in Zakaya, and we have a great point guard in Toddy Kennedy. And we have people that are very capable of doing that, but that one person doesn't have the pressure. You get what I'm saying? We've made it clear that we are all collectively willing to help, bring the ball up the floor. We're very versatile. We have plays where anybody can really start the play, in order to execute it at a high level. So just everybody knowing that, we're collectively going to do whatever it takes to win the game. It's not on one person. It's not one person's responsibility to, bring the ball up the entire game. We're all going to chip in and help in any way that we can. And as far as Zakia's amazing. Young Thundercat, the future is bright. And even now, she's going to be in a big position, a position that she's never been in before. So it's our job as her teammates to have her back, to guide her, and to let her know everything's going to be okay. We trust her, and I'm excited to see her blossom and flourish in this opportunity.
So, Maddie, Sam Gore, the ESPN again. When I close my eyes, I can't tell if it's you or Coach Yo answering these questions. So obviously, she's had a tremendous impact on you.
Yes.
To the point where you even answer questions like another coach. So is coaching something you're planning on getting into? It's a two-part question. And can you kind of put into words what playing for Coach Yo has meant to you?
Definitely coaching is something that's in the back of my head, something that I'm very interested in. And Coach O has meant a lot to me. This is year 4 with her, and I already announced I'm coming back. It'll be year 5, in the future. Coach O just keeps me on my toes. She pushes me past my limits. She really has helped me grow, and it hasn't been easy for her. I know it's been a lot of difficult moments, but, she never leaves my side. She's always there, and it's bigger than basketball. She wants me to be great in the basketball court, but also great in life. So she's teaching me life skills, that's going to help me be successful, and I'm a representation of my coach. We all are a representation of our head coach, which is why I come up here and I speak so well and stuff like that, she's taught me a lot, and I'm taking notes because one day I want to be a coach as well. So there's nothing that she does where I'm not thinking about it like, why did she do that, but it's all because I'm just eager to learn, I'm hungry, and I'm just excited for all the opportunities that come, my way.
Great mentor.
We'll go to another Zoom question here from Gabrielle Lewis.
Hi again, but this is for both of you. The SEC really has this defensive spirit, and I think you guys exhibit that maybe better than anyone. What makes defense so central to the SEC culture, and what's distinctive about that SEC defensive style?
I feel like the SEC is just very physical. We're very tough. And I feel like our defense is very physical, very tough. The difference from our defense is just you're gonna do what we tell you to do, not what the other way around. So just dictate and we disrupt. And I just feel like the SEC is just more physical than a lot of conferences. I come from the Big Ten where it wasn't as physical. Coming to the SEC, it was different. It was like a culture shock for me. I was like, oh, Lord, what is this? But it helped me in so many ways, and it helped me with Coach Yo because I was just like, Coach, I don't know this type of defense. This is different from me. But heavy on just physical and tough.
We have time for one more question here.
Madison, you mentioned coaching. If the opportunity were there, would Ole Miss be a dream job, or would it be challenging to coach? Do you think it'd be challenging to coach at your alma mater?
That's big shoes to fill, with Coach O doing what she's doing now, and she's just beginning. There's so much, success and blessings coming her way. So, but definitely the opportunity presented itself. I would love to do that. Oxford, Ole Miss, they showed me so much love. They've helped, mold me into the woman I am today. And I'm still growing, I'm still improving, but I wouldn't be where I am without Coach O, University of Mississippi, my teammates, all the relationships, everything that's come out of coming to the University of Mississippi. It will always be near and dear to my heart. So definitely, to answer your question, yes.
All right. Thank you, Madison and Taya. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we'll now have Coach Yolette McEwen step to the podium here. Anyone have a question to get us started?
Coach, kind of recycle one I had for the players. What about the style of basketball that you've built this program with is suited to March, in your opinion?
Well, it wouldn't be fair if I didn't give credit to Charlton C.Y. Young. He is an associate head coach at Missouri, but before Missouri, he was a mentor for me at Jacksonville, and he's a part of the Leonard Hamilton defense at Florida State. And one day he just pulled me aside and he said, "Yo, if you want to like really be a tournament team, you got to have a defensive system, and right now you don't have one." And so he spent the whole summer with me, teaching me their system for Florida State men. And I'm a student of the game, and I followed it to a T, from how we play out of bounds to what we do defensively. And we have come up with our own identity. There are just one or two things we don't do that they do, just because I just think when you think about, men's basketball and the way men are built, there's some things that just didn't work for women's basketball. But the whole philosophy, our language, how we talk, how we think, that's the origin. And we've been doing it since year 3 at Ole Miss. And he said if you keep doing it, you'll be able to be deep in the tournament. And the reason why is because it's very hard to simulate, because it's a system. So usually when we play teams, we don't spend a lot of time saying, hey, with this action, we'll guard it this way. No, we have a way we guard actions, we guard ball screens, we guard, and that's where our players' confidence is built. So while some teams people do what works for them, they change it for the opponent. We don't change our philosophy, which is to dictate and disrupt. Now that's Ole Miss women's basketball. They didn't call it dictate and disrupt, but when we started really buying into it and living it, we started saying, this is what we're going to do. We're going to dictate and disrupt people on the defensive end and what they're trying to do offensively.
Kurt Rollo, Associated Press. Taya mentioned it was a bit of a shock coming from the Big Ten to the SEC. It was so much more physical. How has she handled that transition in your eyes, and how valuable is the impact she's making?
Well, first of all, I want to tell you I'm glad I have a new contract, because you made me nervous with that Maddie question, because she's a hot commodity in Oxford, and I didn't want them to get any ideas. See, I'm just kidding. She'd be a great coach, and she has already let me know that I need to have a position for her when she's done playing basketball. But we've had 17 transfers in 6 years, and so that is an adjustment for players that don't come up as freshmen through our system. But it's easier because we have a system. So most times when we have transfers come in, Maddie, the people that have been here say, okay, this is what we do. And we put them in the front of the line, and we start introducing our defensive philosophy as soon as they get on campus. And I think the reason why it's difficult initially is because, if you don't guard, you don't play. And I let you know that when I'm recruiting you, but it's nothing like being sat down because you don't want to keep people in front of you. But what I do love about our defense is that I think it builds character, because it's something that you have to do that's challenging. Anything that's challenging, you have to have character. And everyone knows that in sports, when you score, that's what brings joy, right? And so let's even talk about philosophy. I prefer to be on the defensive end for the last possession than the offensive end. So while one would hold the ball so that they can get the last shot, I prefer to be on the defensive end. So, like, if we're on the defensive end to win a game, I'm way more calm than on the offensive end because that is who we are and that is what we do. And I also want to mention this, too. While the Southeastern Conference, our play is physical, we play a clean style of basketball. And a lot of coaches like to come in here and use that against us, and I don't think it's in a positive way. You know, we're not Bush League. You know, we're not fouling you all over the place. We show our hands. We beat you to spots. We jump and block your shot. We have a system, so it's really clean. And so because we speed you up and you fall, we didn't make you fall. We just sped you up. And so I want to really make clear that Ole Miss women's basketball plays an aggressive but a very clean style of basketball that some people look as physical because we're in your face. You get what I'm saying? So you run all of this complex action, and then when you stop, we're still there. Well, that's because we're athletic. That's because we use our hands. That's because we are confident in what we do. But I wanted to make that clear because sometimes it's used not in a negative light, and that's just not true. We just meet you at the rim. And I know that's unusual for women's basketball, but that's how we play.
We just heard Maddie kind of talk about making the decision to be a leader. Obviously, you know, the outcome has been positive, but maybe not always easy for this team this year. Do you think you would be here had she not really made those contributions off the court, kind of in the locker room?
Yeah. When you say here, meaning
a 7 seed in the NCAA tournament.
Shoot. I don't think we would be a 7 seed without Team 49. Like, this is really a group effort. It's one of the things that I've enjoyed. Our team understands, everybody understands how important their role is. From the person that puts out the markers for me to write on the board, you know, because if that marker is dry, you just took 5 precious minutes away from me to write on the board, and now I'm in a panic. And so everybody understands their role. Obviously, I have an appreciation for Maddie. Maddie believed in me when not a lot of people did. We were 0-16 when Maddie committed, you know, and now she's decided to give a 5th year. And that's not normal in today's, in today's, you know, in the sport today because of the portal. And so this young lady has started from the beginning to now. And so when you talk about winning, I've won a lot of games, but just to see her up here and articulate in the manner that she did, and even Taya, who's been here 2 years, that's the win for me.
We'll turn it over to a Zoom question here. If we can get it to work.
Hi, Coach. Gabrielle Lewis, the next.
Hey, Gabrielle.
You mentioned this a little bit earlier about how, you know, the clean, calculated defense of Ole Miss. Do you feel like your team in the SEC are unfairly, like, treated and portrayed? And why do you feel like that?
I think it's an easy out. I think sometimes it's a lazy narrative. I think it's a way, if teams in the Southeastern Conference beat you, you can say, oh, well, they play Bush League. And I know it's unfair. You know, we held Stanford to 49 points last year. You know why we did that? Because teams in the Pac-12 did not guard certain people that they didn't think that they could shoot. You know what we did? We guard everybody. We were in everyone's face. And it was shocking. It was not something that they're used to. You know, Marquette is a great team. But I've watched every game they've played. No one has picked them up full court. It's no secret. We played 94 feet, you know? it's shocking. It's overwhelming if you had, not even UConn. It's overwhelming when you experience it. And we have to change that narrative because in the Southeastern Conference, we're the most athletic. So sometimes I think we get officiated unfairly sometimes because it's a style you haven't seen. So, like, my players, we get beat up a lot, because we can jump and we can jump over you and we can do things that not a lot of people can do. And so officials miss the call. And I end up telling them a lot of times, like, don't get caught up watching the beauty of what Marquisha just did. She got fouled. And I know it's beautiful that she glided in the air and then went underneath the basket, but someone hit her on the way. And I know that we don't teach flopping, We don't fall all over the ground. We play basketball. We sit in front of you. We take a charge if you run over us. Sometimes we don't. Even in those moments, we wall up. And so I think it's a lazy narrative. Let's look at last year. I mean, South Carolina got beat up by Iowa. I mean, they came out with the report and said that, But why didn't it get called that way? Because South Carolina's big. South Carolina is athletic. Same thing that happens to us. And it's very, in the officials' defense, it's very hard to officiate because you do get caught up with us flying in the air and that kind of stuff. But that's why I'm going to use my platform to say we play a clean style of basketball. And most times we get beat up a lot. We just don't cry about it. And so hopefully, we will continue to show that in this tournament. If we are fortunate enough to win and go deep. But starting on Saturday, tomorrow, I don't even know what day of the week is it. Is it tomorrow? If you told me it was Monday, I would believe it. So hopefully we get to show that tomorrow, that we're going to be in your face, but we're going to show our hands, and we're going to be incredibly calculated with the way we play.
Coach, did Snudda Collins travel here with the team, and is she still a part of this program?
Yeah, Snudda did not travel with the team. Snudda decided to step back for a second. The timing couldn't be any worse, if you ask me. But I support our players. Snudda's getting ready to graduate. She's been a part of the program. We did not have talks about her coming back like Maddie. And so, I didn't know if that would be a possibility anyway. And we support her 100%.
Coach, you finished the season winning 7 of the last 8 games, and Maddie kind of talked about that turning moment. But from a coaching staff standpoint, what do you feel like changed in this team?
I think what Maddie said rang some truth, probably a lot. This year has been very difficult. We come in ranked 12th, expectations. My feelings about preseason rankings. I don't know how they exist. But at the same time, we knew we were going to be good. We go to the Bahamas. We beat Arizona and Michigan and a good Howard team. And then versus Michigan, KK tears her ACL. That was a shock to our system. And we didn't get to stop. We had to play. And so we were figuring things out as we go, kind of like Texas. It was that big of a blow for us. And so then I played Maddie at the point some, and then we had Zakiya there, and then we had Kennedy Todd Williams at the point. And it has been not only from a strategic standpoint a challenge, but emotionally. Anybody that knows KK Deans, she's a mini-me, from her bravado, her persona, just how she moves, her swagger. It is on 100. And so for us to lose that, it made people have to step up. when we lost to South Carolina and then Texas A&M at home in the fashion we did, Toddy got ejected because she had a tech and an intentional. I brought the group in and I said, you guys have to make a decision right now. And there are only two sides of this. There's a winning side and there's a losing side. It's not a Coach Yo side. It's not a team side. It is a winning side and a losing side. Choose. And then what I did for that whole week, we had a bye week. Every day we would start practice with showing them videos of winning teams' press conferences so that they can hear, like, this is how winners talk. This is what winners do. This is how winners think, you know. And it made Maddie step up because KK was a crutch because she was just so confident, you know. I mean, like, KK would be putting us on her back right now. And while it was detrimental, it was the best thing that could happen to us, looking hindsight, right? Because she got a year to see and watch how we play. She'll be back. And then Maddie, Toddy, Quee, Team 49 had to make a decision. And they did, and we won 7 in a row because they started saying, okay, this is my job, this is your job, this is your job. And Maddie, your job is to lead. And no one wanted to kind of tell her that. It was kind of strange. And I said, it's okay for you to tell her you want her to lead. Doesn't mean that she has to take all the pressure, but that's her role. And so everybody had a role. Everybody bought into their role, and that's what you're seeing. And we were fortunate to play, I think, 3 games without Snuda because she had hurt her elbow, and that helped us as well. So, you know, we're prepared to play with who we have.
We'll go to one last question on Zoom here from Gabrielle Lewis.
Coach, preseason you talked about how this team had high expectations for the tournament. You know, they were already talking about a Final Four, but you said you don't believe in skipping steps. So what are your players' expectations for the tournament? What are yours?
Yeah.
And then, like, how are you grounding that to not get ahead of yourself?
Well, I think, first of all, that's why I love doing this, because young people, like, they have absolutely no fear. And I think sometimes coaches, media, we give that off. I'm a parent, all right? And just funny, so I'm afraid of snakes. But my daughters, my 11 and 6-year-old, they're not afraid of snakes. And so if we go to a zoo, I go this way, but I don't tell them to come with me. I let them go and pet the snake because I don't want to give them that fear, because someone gave that to me. Like, how did I know to be afraid of a snake? Someone told me to be afraid of a snake coming up. And so what I won't do is kill their dreams. And as you go through life and a season, they become wise, and it's almost to a detriment because they lose games, stuff happens, and now a fear is built. And so I don't want my team to have that. But at the same time, I want them to understand that if we want to get to the Final Four, we have to win 4. And the winning starts tomorrow versus Marquette. And so we are present. My one word for this year, shout out to John Gordon, is steady. I don't get too high. I don't get too low. My focus is Marquette. That's my focus. And what we have to do to dictate and disrupt Marquette, not only on the defensive end, but the offensive end. I know y'all been talking about our defense, but look at our points. The last 7 games, we get a bucket too. So just trying to decide, trying to keep them focused on the steps, what it takes, and then seeing where we get to from it. Because last year, we really only wanted to win. I would have been happy with just winning one more game than the year before, you know. But we started winning. It felt good. We enjoyed the West Coast. Voila, we end up in the Sweet 16. So I'm just here for the ride with the team.
Thank you very much, Coach.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Thank you all for the questions as well. Ole Miss practice will begin at 1:10. The first 15 minutes of that will be open to the media. Hammond Communications will post a recording of this press conference in the NCAA Digital Media Hub at ncaa.veritone.com. Transcripts are provided by ASAP and will be posted shortly. Thank you for joining us.